So Gary Cardone, who some people have alleged is a clone of Grant Cardone, but he claims just to be the identical twin brother. You can believe whatever you want in that case. But Gary Cardone was the CEO of a company known as Chargebacks 911. And after the FTC sued the company, he has now stepped down. He's no longer the CEO. He's leaving the company. He's making his ex-wife is now in charge of the company. And he's going to go off and do some other things. He's probably going to get into crypto, which I'll show you. He's a big fan of crypto. He's also, a Scientologist. He's in a cult. Both of them, Gary and Grant, are both Scientologists, cult members. And he has stepped down after the FTC sued his company, alleging that they are doing very fraudulent behavior. Now, I talked about his company, Chargebacks 911, in the last video a week ago, and that video now has over 300,000 views. So thank you, everyone who watched that. And initially, everyone seemed to be on the same page. It said, what I was going over in the FTC actual lawsuit that I showed, the complaint, what they were doing, what the Chargebacks 911 was allegedly doing, was very scummy behavior. Everyone seemed to be on the same page about that. Now, as that video went kind of semi-viral, people started to come out of the woodworks and defend both Gary Cardone and Chargebacks 911 and say, what they're doing, it's not scammy, right? Chargebacks are a serious issue. And I agree, right? Legitimate companies can have chargebacks. A chargebacks is when an individual, say a company charges your credit card, you don't remember making that purchase, or it was too much money over what you initially agreed to, you can actually go to your credit card and dispute that claim and charge the company back so they actually don't make any money from you. Now, that happens quite a bit. That's a known issue. And a lot of times these companies, which I'll show you, are very scammy, which is a lot of reasons why these chargebacks happen. Now, some people actually abuse that system and, do chargebacks when they shouldn't be doing that. And I agree that's an issue, right? Now, the people who are defending Gary and his company themselves say that they're trying to help companies against these fraudulent chargebacks, but that's not what the FTC is saying. That's not the allegations they make against them. They're saying his company is very scammy. So we're going to take a look at the actual press release that the company Chargebacks 911 released, saying that Gary Cardone is stepping down as CEO. And then we're actually going to take a look at one of the comments someone left on my channel defending Gary and Chargebacks 911. And I'm going to give even more proof just to how scummy this company is. This company has worked with several fraudulent companies that have all been sued and all settled with the FTC and have to pay, I believe, about $300 million in restitution to the FTC for scamming customers. Like, they agreed, right? They rolled over. They said, yeah, we scammed people. Here's the money back. We're sorry, FTC. And Chargebacks 911 was working with all these companies, trying to keep them in business, even though they've now admitted they're fraudulent. So I really don't understand why people would defend Chargebacks 911 and Grant Cardone's clone, identical twin brother, Gary. I really don't know why people would defend these guys. But yeah, people apparently are. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so here is the actual press release straight from Chargebacks 911. It says, Monica Eaton assumes CEO title at Chargebacks 911. We're not going to read the whole thing, just the relevant information right here at the top. It says Tampa Bay, Florida, and it says Chargebacks 911 and its sister brand FI 911, the global leader in chargeback management technology, announced today that the former transition of Monica Eaton in the FTC lawsuit. Her name is Monica Eaton Cardone. She's the ex-wife of Gary Cardone. I believe they're now divorced. Monica Eaton to assume title as its chief executive officer, CEO. Gary Cardone, who has held the title of CEO for the last 10 years, will depart the management team and retire from the business to pursue other strategic investments. As a platform provider, Chargebacks 911 and FI 911 powers many of the world's largest financial institutions. And in her role as CEO, Eaton will continue steering and executing the company's global vision and strategy, right? So that's what it is. It's basically just, saying, it doesn't say anything about the actual lawsuit that they're being sued by the FTC, but it's showing you that this is the lady right here, the ex-wife of Gary Cardone. She has decided to take over the CEO role, and Gary is leaving the company. Now, if you actually go to his Twitter page, you can see Gary post pretty much every day about Bitcoin and about various different cryptocurrencies. So my assumption is he's probably going to do something about crypto, probably going to get into some big cryptocurrency coin. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's leaving the company that he started, that he was the CEO for over 10 years to do other things. And it's very interesting that this happens right after the FTC sues them for being a scammy company. Now, like I said, several people have come out in defense, left comments. This is one of them right here. And I blocked out the name. Everyone can leave comments. I don't want to put this person on blast. But we're going to go over their actual comment, and I'll respond to it. So it says, this is in response to the video I made initially about Chargebacks 911 being a scam. So he says, because no legitimate business ever gets a fraudulent chargeback, right? As someone who knows dozens of small business owners, chargeback scams, customers scamming businesses, are insanely common and can cause massive harm to small businesses. It's common for nearly every major business to have a department devoted towards fighting these false chargebacks. Ridiculous to spread this ignorant negativity because of some bad actors with a legitimate space. Scams exist on both sides, FYI. Now, I do partially agree with this. Chargebacks are an issue that companies have to deal with. Now, myself, I've talked about this in previous videos. I've been a top-rated seller on eBay for over 10 years, right? I also have a Shopify store. Now, over the course of my 10 years on eBay and my Shopify store, I think I've had a total of maybe 5 or 6 chargebacks over the thousands of items that I have sold in that 10 years, right? And I don't get many chargebacks because I'm not scamming my customers, which is what these companies are doing that Chargebacks 911 is working with, right? Now, occasionally, there are people who do try and game the system, right? They'll buy an item, and then they'll initiate a chargeback so they don't have to pay for the item. How that works, though, is that an individual cannot do this repeatedly, right? A credit card company will let them do it, once, twice, maybe 3 times. But if they see a pattern of an individual initiating chargebacks over and over and over again against online purchases, they will eventually shut that credit card of that individual down. So an individual person cannot do this over and over, and people know this. So they're not going to initiate chargebacks willy-nilly unless they're a known scammer, or if they feel a company is actually scamming them, right? Most legitimate companies are going to have a very low amount of actual chargebacks. Now, the companies that Chargebacks 911 is working with, this is the actual document that we covered last time. This is the press release by the FTC. We're not going to go over the whole thing. We're just going to go down here. Now, I want to talk about Chargebacks 911. They were saying in this lawsuit, the FTC was saying that they were doing fraudulent behavior of basically initiating thousands of $1 purchases on these 3 scammy companies, which we're going to take a closer look at, to lower their chargeback amount. Because if your chargeback amount goes too high, if you get too many chargebacks, your credit card, your merchant accounts will get shut down. So they were doing very fraudulent behavior. This isn't something that a normal company does. This is fraudulent behavior. Now, the 3 companies that Chargebacks 911 was working with, Apex Capital, and I'll pull up all of their, they all have FTC lawsuits as well. I'll pull up all 3 of them. Apex Capital, F9 Advertising, and AH Media have all been sued by the FTC. And basically, all of these lawsuits, I won't read all of them, they're all basically the same claim that these companies, what they would do is they would offer online, they would offer a free item, or in many cases, you get a free item from the company and all you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. So you give your credit card number to these online companies, say you're buying a beauty product, a beauty cream, and they'll give you your first beauty cream free. You just got to pay $4.99 for shipping and handling, right? Now, what these companies would do, which is incredibly scummy, is in the very fine print that no one is reading, it says that by initiating this shipping charge, you are agreeing to be part of their subscription service indefinitely. You agreed to pay $90 a month to get this item. They're giving you the first one for free. You get it indefinitely for just $90 of subscription service every month. So what will happen is a month later, when the subscription service kicks in, people will be like, what the hell is this? I did not agree to this $90 subscription a month, and then they will issue a chargeback with their credit card company. That is why these companies get so many chargeback claims, because they're scammers. Now, all 3 of these companies have all admitted to wrongdoing, and they all have collectively paid, I think, about $300 million, $250, $300 million to the FTC for being known scammers. Now, what happened was the FTC, after seeing all these scammy companies, they all had one connection. They were all connected to Chargebacks 911. This was the company that was allowing all these fraudulent companies to stay in business and not have their merchant accounts shut down. As I talked about, I'm not going to go over all this because I talked about this in the other video. This company, like I said, they're issuing a bunch of the $1 purchases. They're also filing false claims with the credit card companies, saying that these customers were agreeing to these subscription services when that simply wasn't the case. People thought they were getting free items, but they were actually being scammed into subscription services. This is not a legitimate company, so I don't agree with this comment at all. Now, like I said, there are occasionally legitimate chargeback claims that need to be fought, but these three companies that Chargebacks was working with are confirmed scams. This isn't alleged. They have agreed to pay back millions of dollars for scamming people. And Chargebacks 911 was the company that was making this all possible, right? So I disagree 100% who people are defending the clone of Grant Cardone. Sorry, not the clone, the identical twin brother of Grant Cardone, Gary Cardone, and his scammy company, Chargebacks 911. And I do find it very odd that immediately after his company gets sued for being a scam, whoa, guys, I'm going to step back as the CEO. I'm going to let my ex-wife, I'm going to let her take over the company. I'm going to get out of here and start pumping Bitcoin on my Twitter account right there. So I do think that's... I do think that actual criminal charges could potentially be filed against Gary Cardone and possibly other management staff at Chargebacks 911. This is just a civil case as of right now, but I do think that criminal charges could follow. Again, that's just my opinion. But what are in this allegations that I have linked below? I'll have linked. You can check this out yourself. Are extremely serious. This is not a company that was doing something they should be doing. This company was acting incredibly inappropriate if what they are saying in this lawsuit that the FTC brought against them is true. But I'd love to know down below, what do you think about this whole development, about Gary Cardone stepping down and allowing his ex-wife to now run his company? Do you think it's just a coincidence, or is it because his company is being sued for being an alleged scam by the FTC?